I mean, I like it, or at least I think I do. I've been inspired by Moonglow here in the survival world, and I just want to bring some extra life to it. So, right over here, we have tons of pillars just in the water and on the land, and I have a feeling that we're not yet done building on this area for the day. But I really am open to all of your ideas and feedback in the comments. But I do have a feeling that by the end of this episode, not only this area, but some other areas of this world will be deserving of the like button, if not my handsome looks, my good charm, and my even better sense of humor. But I kind of just felt like building, and so I hopped into Build School, which is our creative world where myself and a bunch of other creators get to just build incredible things together. And all that I knew was that I kind of wanted a thin, vertical looking little statue that I could repeat plenty of times in an array. And so we have this kind of cool looking design right here, and as we continue to fill in the area, I do think that I want to give a bit of a story or a background to this too. I have a feeling that I want this place to be a refurbished garden or a refurbished park where this is a bundle of ruins left from an olden time from a people of whom we'll have to create a history together. But each one of these pillars is a donation, an offering to their higher being. And maybe, better yet, all of the nooks and crannies, all the slopes that the stairs have in the pillars represent all of the challenges, all of the twists and turns that life will take you as you try to grow into the biggest fruit of yourself, that greater self that is part and parcel of everything that we have here in this beautiful world and in this beautiful region in the kingdom of Adapan. So we'll have to continue to refine this area throughout the episode, but it may come as no surprise that besides my levels, I'm actually feeling a little bit poor in this world. If possible, it would be helpful to try to find some diorite so that we can get to building our tunnel. But at the very least, to do any more work around this area, we're going to need some more stone and cobblestone, maybe to extend the pillars, but just to fill in the entire area. I'm still not sure if I want to keep these pillars that are in the water right here. I love how they look up close, but I'm not really sure from afar. But while I go and collect some materials and think about how I want to fit this build into the world here in Adapan, I hope that you enjoy a brief cinematic and a quick message from this video's sponsor, which, if you haven't guessed already, is myself. What can you buy for $3? A bag of Lay's potato chips? Nope. $4. What about a package of Oreos? Nope, it's $5 whole. But what if I told you that you could get 12 exclusive videos, 3 loyalty badges, and an exclusive advanced replay mod tutorial for the price of $3? It's true. It's for real, for real. Members also get other exclusive perks, but you would know that if you remember. Consider joining the channel today. Well, I must say, I'm really glad that we have that infrastructure set in place now, because coming over to this birch forest only takes about a minute or so, where it would take me maybe 3 or 4 on foot. And yes, I do know it still looks ugly. We have a lot of work to do, but we still have forever to do it, right? But we can head down our staircase because I'm realizing that we're going to need a little bit of birch for the build. And so while I chop down some wood, I wanted to start to implement a comment of the day section for the video. Definitely one of my favorite things about doing YouTube is getting to respond to your comments and getting to connect with you all. And so, as with every comment of the day, if you ever have anything that you want me to answer and you want to be a part of a video, consider leaving a comment in the description below. But our first comment of the day for this series comes in from a good buddy of mine named Cuboid, and he asks, Slip, how do you make so many high quality videos at such a fast pace? Which also, by the way, we have a new mini series that's going on in the Forever World on this island that we have over here, where I sit down and talk and play Stranded on that island for an hour or so and respond to your comments on the second channel as well. And there are definitely many ways that I could respond to this question, but the overlying factor is that I just put in the work. You see now, by this point in time, I've maybe made over 300 videos. And for sure, when I started, I was astounded by how quickly other people were able to make videos like the pace that they did. And if I'm being honest, I do remember looking up online, how do people make so many videos? Like, how can I get faster at doing this myself without sacrificing quality as much as possible, of course? And of course, I found out online that some people pay to have video editors, but as a small guy, I didn't have the money or any income source from YouTube that would make that worth it or justifiable. And of course, what that left me to do was to just try my best to learn the skills. And honestly, what I learned was that by focusing on just trying to make the best quality videos that I could over time, I found all these kind of nicks and tricks and tools of the trade that made me a faster video editor as well. And then the faster that I could edit, the more that I could put onto my plate and be able to manage at the same time. But if I'm being honest, that's only one part of the story, because I think that part of the hidden part of the message that many people maybe just don't recognize when it comes to getting better at video editing is that when people say putting in the time, they mean that they're standing or sitting in front of the computer for hours and hours. That builds up over months and years, and you can see yourself get better at the process. But it's not necessarily glamorous, and not everyone is willing to sacrifice a Friday or Saturday night out. Not even playing their favorite video game that they make videos on, but just video editing and doing the boring parts and, sacrificing and those sorts of commitments. And that's what I've done for just about 2 years now, and sacrificed a lot in order to get better. And it's been worth it for me because I'm the sort of person that wanted this in their life and it really enjoys getting better at it, but it really isn't for everyone. And so there's a silver lining that the more that you do this, the reality is you can put out more videos and figure out ways to be more efficient with your time and, make less mistakes as a commentator or as a video editor or whatever it be. But at the same time, you do have to... You do have to sacrifice, and not everyone is willing to do that, I think. I think that a good example is that when I first started off on YouTube, I watched video after video about how to do certain effects and transitions and all of the kind of gadgets to make my videos better. And when I was doing that at first, some of the videos, especially like keyframing, doing certain effects, it was just out of my knowledge of Premiere Pro. But then the more that I figured out other skills, the more that those skills that were too much for me at first came to be recognizable, and I was able to figure those out. And then by that time, when I was figuring out new skills, I was getting faster and more efficient and finding out more tools as to how to include those aspects within my videos without it eating up as much of my time. And I'm definitely nowhere near perfect. And something that has been on the forefront of my mind recently is how can I continue to maximize that efficiency and really make out as many videos as I can, in particular here in the survival world, because I want to do so much, but you only have so much time in the day, right? So what can I do to make videos that I'm proud of, but and have that quality that makes me satisfied, um, but at the same time is gotten out on a quick and consistent basis is something that I still struggle with, but I can definitely attest to the fact that you do get a lot better with time. And as you get better with time, you can either, decide to use that time and reinvest in yourself and make more videos, which is what I do, or eventually, I think as you get to like a full-time content creation standpoint, then you can also take a little bit of work off your hands, and you've learned the skills and you know how to make extra videos that you want for yourself, but then you also have the funds to have a video editor that can cut out the fluff, and you just add on the little bits and bobs that you want. But until you get there, I think the best case scenario is just to spend a lot of time in Premiere Pro, and eventually you find that your YouTube income, or at least for me, pays for my Premiere Pro income, where I had to invest in myself and was paying to make these Minecraft videos technically, or to edit anything. It's not the case anymore, but that's only because I spent many hours to justify my ability to get, reward out of. I was so loud, you sheep, out of the program and out of editing and everything. So, fantastic question. I do think that we are probably good on our birch logs over there. And I say, why don't we make the most of our new monorail and head back over to the mountainside. And I must say, the kingdom of Otapon really looks beautiful as the sun sets into the horizon. But we'll pull up upon our most recent build here in the kingdom, which is kind of our cottage as the send-off to our monorail. But I'm gonna head to sleep for the night, which of course, I think it's funny that all of us builders, we build these incredible things, and there's a house right next to me, but instead, I decided to just sleep on the floor outside. Now, our carved-in mountain is looking beautiful, and after today, I think that we'll have even more of an idea of what we're going to be going for in this area. You can see that we have some chests and a furnace right here, but in the middle one, we have all of the materials that we're going to start with, including tons of iron and some diorite and then some smooth quartz and quartz. So you can see that we're going for a white build palette here, and I'm very excited for this. As I've said before, the inspiration for this build is going to be coming from Simply Knight, who is a wonderful content creator himself. But just as always, when you're inspired by another Minecraft YouTuber, usually the project that you end up doing after is a little bit bigger than you thought you were going to chew off at first. So I'm going to give you all a quick sneak peek of an idea of what we're going to be going for this tunnel build. This right here is just the entranceway, and it is quite an elaborate build. As you can see, it's going to carve straight into the mountaintop, and the arches on the entrance with the slabs are quite incredible as well. I spent a whole lot of time in build school just coming up with and designing this, and this is one of the biggest builds that I've ever made, meaning that we're not going to be doing the entirety of this entrance today. We're instead just going to do the first segment here, which will give us a good idea of how tall we need to dig into the mountain as we continue to collect resources in the kingdom. So I say, let's get along to doing that, and we can take a look together about how big this tunnel is really going to be. Now it's been about 45 minutes of my time, and just look at this tunnel entrance. We've literally only done the first layer, and the entire area is completely transformed. I mean, if we look in here, it's literally one layer, and man, this tunnel is big. It is going to be a massive project, which, if I'm being honest, makes me want to just dive into it and do layer after layer and see how far we can get. But that is not the purpose of today's episode, which, may I remind you, is the little park area over that way. But now that this is in the game, I must say I'm quite proud of what I've been able to create. And our palette here is a couple of diorite blocks along with some iron blocks, which is so expensive. And then we also have some quartz every once in a while too. And for all of you that are wondering, Slip, where are all of the other layers with the slabs? Well, my response is, with each column that we go in, we have extra layers with the slabs that make a really cool design in the long run. So I think that we'll get around to doing one column every single episode and just see how far we can get over time. And I will say, making that first layer was about 35 minutes of my time, but then I had to go and get even more diorite, and what I did was place a bunch of temporary blocks right here, which what that did was give me a feel of the area. So now the next time I want to go material collecting or extend this tunnel area, I know that this is going to be our work zone, which I gotta say is not too shabby of a work zone to work in. One thing that is dreadfully apparent is that we do need to connect the pathway down here up to here somehow and just make it easier to get up and down. But I think that that's going to be a problem for future Slip. But you can see that from afar, our new tunnel is just so intimidating. It's so big looking. It's really great when everything else that we have in the area is quite small, to have a really massive, just a really big looking build in the area. However, we're going to come along down to the monorail to do a bit of texturing work. As you can see, this guy has a decent, interesting, not my favorite design, but it'll work, and it's looking ugly because of the fact that it's only cobblestone at the moment. I really do think that doing some texturing work can detail any arch, and that if you have a good build or a decent kind of like build infrastructure, then whenever you place on the other blocks, it just brings everything else to life, which you don't have to believe me now, but I'm gonna set a timer for 1 hour and get to work, and then we'll check in and you'll have to let me know what we think. Well, 1 hour can easily lead into 2, but as you can see by these awesome arches that we have in the distance, it looks really good around here. I've gone for a texturing design that I've used many times in the kingdom, whether it be on the paths over right here, maybe a little bit of extra mossy around for our bridge, but really just some stone bricks and some stone and then some cobblestone. You really don't need anything else, and you mix them all together in a mosaic pattern and you get something that looks pretty good, I think. However, one of the main things that I ended up changing about our monorail that I like the most about it is that now that we have spruce trapdoors along with different types of walls and stone slabs going along the line, and it adds an extra arch, and it just really fits the whole monorail in well, I think. We can, of course, just get into the minecart and press the button, and then we're off to the races. And as you can see, it goes quite a long way until it drops off and goes to our prototype design over here. But the monorail design has a wonderful look at the kingdom as we end up coming into it. And the more that I play in this world, the more that I try to prevent myself from beating the game and getting myself a pair of wings. The reason being that my world will lose some sort of appeal after I end up beating the game for the first time. Which, by the way, this area here might be my favorite part about having the monorail. I decided, you know what, why not just go over our pathway, and then whenever we want to just go by foot, we'll have some incredible arches to walk in between. And the monorail ends up going over the path twice, and the path also kind of just gets a little bit shorter as a result. And it is absolutely so beautiful to just walk through. But I did say that after a little bit of texture work that the monorail would look better, and I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments below. However, we are not yet done with building in this area. We're going to start on off by paving out a path. The reason being, I want to connect this area and make a staircase so that we can lead ourselves on up to the monorail. But at the same time, I do feel like this area could use with a better platform to get to the top. So I'm going to be lazy and work around our workstation blocks and then fill in with our normal stone pattern until our path is looking how it normally does. I do also think that we'll try to make the path 3 wide right here and extend it down like this, and then maybe try to ease the way that we walk up here. But of course we have a baby zombie running my way. Like, we keep getting attacked by these guys today, and I just don't want to attack him right now. But man, this guy has a lot of health. But as I was saying, I actually think that we're going to go and double up with our blocks. That way we can smoothen the incline of our path, and we can also border in the side with some stone, just 1 up or half a block up like that, as well as maybe make a pillar on the side like so. And then I actually do think that I'm going to go with the stairway design that we had here. So we can bring in our stone like this and maybe a slab here. But then actually at the same time, it does seem kind of important to continue to go along like this. And in this fashion, our staircase will have a retaining wall on the side too. And then actually that is looking really good. So we're going to continue and do the exact same thing right on this side. And what I'm doing is really just going in with full blocks and then going half a block up from the last one. And now, just like that, we have a closed-in curved pathway that leads on up to the monorail. Now, I do think that I do need to put a wall and maybe a slab on top just to close in the area here. We can, of course, place down some flowers as well. And then maybe to switch it up, I'm going to place 1 more wall right there and come in with the fence and with the sign. However, besides that, I do think that we've gotten a good amount of progress done on the monorail for today's episode. I almost kind of like the fact that the packages and my workstation blocks are standing in front of the entrance. It's like, well, it's still not open, which yes, technically that's true. But if I'm being honest with you, I'm really happy about how the entire area is coming out. Everything is really starting to move together, and we're starting to get away from the ugly part of this kingdom. Now we're going to turn our attention away from this amazing transition region and head on off to the opposite edge of the kingdom, because it's about time that we get back to the main focus of today's episode. Now, looking at it here, I think that one of the main problems I have with this area is the pillars that we have in the water. I think that having them in too much of an array form, especially into the water as well, is taking away from that working with the land sort of vibe. However, before I do that, I'm going to unleash the lethal weapon for today's build, which, as you can tell, is the mighty sweetberry. There's really not too many things that add the perfect flair of red on the ground, and I think that if we were to enclose this area with an enclosing wall, an encapsulating wall, a wall, I guess. If we have a border wall and then do diagonal rows of sweet berries, and then maybe potentially some peonies also diagonal with them too, then these guys could be the perfect purple and pink sauce to flare up this area. And then who knows, maybe we'll do something else with the terrain as well. I do see that we have some gravel, which we might be able to flare up a little bit, but I don't think that I'm going to exchange all of the stone in the area. If I'm being honest, it just seems like too much work given the amount of time that I have for today's episode. And honestly, I'm not too worried about how we'll be able to work with the terrain as well. But unfortunately, you are going to have to go, of course, just to make space for better things. And while we take down these pillars, I did want to mention one thing, or I guess I had a question that I have to ask all of you, or maybe just something to share. I'm not sure, but I am noticing that although we're getting plenty of things done in the world, we're not necessarily completing one build or having one thumbnail worthy thing. I mean, this will be thumbnail worthy by the time that we're done, I think. But I am not doing any mega builds yet, especially until we're ready, and there is a reason for that. And the reason for that is that I've been posting content every other week, so every 2 weeks for the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. And I used to be creating weekly content, and I do know that I'm capable of making weekly content, but also, given all of the things that are on my plate, in order to do it, these videos, we'd have to be a little bit more connection worthy, or they would have to be a little bit more connection worthy. And as opposed to spending so many extra hours doing cinematics and whatnot, I would have to lay lower on the cinematics and kind of focus a little bit more on getting things done in the world, which is something that I kind of feel like doing at the moment. And so if you're enjoying the video, then you'd probably enjoy the rest of them. But I'd love to know what you all think about that so that maybe we can hang out more on the YouTube sphere together. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, because don't get me wrong, there is definitely something great about having a successful video that you've worked on for weeks and weeks. But at the same time, there's also something nice about not putting too much pressure on yourself and just getting, cool projects done like this in the world, and seeing things compound on itself over time. And I guess that I want to mention that there was a time not, too long ago that I really wasn't that in love with everything that we have here in our kingdom. And I'm very lucky to have had the time recently in order to make a lot of changes and edits in order to get the kingdom of Audupon into a place where I'm much more satisfied with how things are coming together. There's this YouTuber named Moonglow who I've been watching a lot recently, and I think that his prerogative was to kind of just connect and to build things and show what's going on in his world. And it's something that I would like to do with you all as well, as frequently as possible without having to focus on the mega build and having to have the uber successful video and having more low-key videos just like this. So it looks like we still have one more sneaky guy right there, along with one more sneaky guy in the ocean here too. But this does get me to thinking maybe we'll make ourselves a pond, or accentuate this area here. Having the pillar in the area makes me think that I want to do that. And of course, I miss one other one that's in the water too. Although we haven't beaten the game, it feels actually really great to really not worry about progression whatsoever during this episode. I know that for me as a builder, I get immense satisfaction about actually being able to do the process and build these things. And so for me, in many ways, I'm still in that phase where I'm still trying to build lots of infrastructure so that I can then go around and get to building whatever it is that I want to build. But I do think that having the pillars only on the land makes all of the difference here. But as many of you know, it wouldn't be a slip video if I didn't get around to making a cinematic, partially because I'm not exactly sure what I want to do with this area yet. But I know that the final product is going to look incredible, especially I think with having all of the sweet berries and peonies that we have growing over there. So I say, let's take one last look at this interesting looking peninsula before we're done with it, and then we can take ourselves a tour and see everything that we've gotten up to. Well, it's been a bit of time, and I wanted to give a progress update because, as you can see, the land has definitely changed around us. This entire area up here used to completely be stone, and we've kind of smoothed out the area all around just to make it look prettier and to fit everything into. While doing all of this, we've been harvesting some sweet berries too, and so the farm has expanded. And I'm doing something I've never done before by only doing 1 block wide pathways, and I'm very excited to see how it turns out. We're going to be using spruce trapdoors, some chiseled stone bricks, stone slabs, and stone brick slabs to fill everything in. And I was thinking about using cobblestone in the path as we've kind of used with everything, but I think that since this is going to be a refurbished area, we want the pathway to be a bit more refined, although I still kind of am going in a mosaic pattern where I put things in diagonals and then in bunches every once in a while. But as you can see, as soon as we put in some of our other blocks, it just starts to fill in immediately. And with this area finished off, you can see the design that we're going for. You can also see that we have plenty of sweet berries, and so what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to go in a diagonal fashion just like this, and then hopefully if we have enough peonies or enough bone blocks, we're going to go one diagonally, 1 block just diagonally from the sweet berries, and we're going to take our peonies and line them just like this too. I'm very excited to see what happens when we experiment with the red and the light pink, and this area really is starting to come together. Along with, if I'm feeling ambitious, we do have something over here too. We have a miniature lake where we could add a dock here, or just maybe add some lily pads and some extra decorations. But as you can tell, we definitely have our work cut out for us. I'm definitely excited to continue to make this beautiful biome even more beautiful. I mean, we're already over day 800, and I feel like we're just getting started in this world, but enough yapping from me. We have plenty of work to get done, and in my opinion, the more that I think about it, an incredible story to bring to this world. Now, this by far has to be one of the best builds that I've ever made. This sacred land of the gods has been refurbished by the Kingdom of Otapan, and honestly, it's a build that I'd be happy to visit in real life. We've maintained our sweetberry farm over here. On top of our border wall, I ended up doing another wall with stone brick walls and fences every once in a while, and what it does is it adds some extra color, and then it also makes the stone brick walls look a little bit different too. It adds a little bit of an extra bump or takes away from the bump of the wall. But generally speaking, it just closes in the area nicely. Over near the front of the park, we have a dock, which is really nothing special. We have a mini lantern and then tons of spruce blocks and then an outer rim with some oak trapdoors. I made sure to line the entranceway with some spruce trapdoors as well, kind of just to make the area entrance a little bit more closed in. And then you can see as we walk around, the entire park is just beautiful beautiful with our path and with the sweetberries and with the peonies. It's one of those flower parks where you kind of just get lost while you're in it. And if you need a space to take your mind off of things, this is definitely the space to do it. I really did do my best to try not to place sweetberries right on the edge, because every once in a while, if you're not careful, you'll still get pricked by the sweetberries. But I guess right now, there we go. I'm being a little bit careful. This area leads out to our lake area, which, as you can tell, I've done a little bit of work refurbishing as well. We have a little storage area to hold your things, and we have a table in case you want to put your fishing gear somewhere. There's another area where you can fish over there if you'd like, or if you just want to have a picnic out on the lake, you're more than welcome to do so as well. Our mini dock is nothing special as well, but it really brings the area together, I think. And if we ever go fishing for a live stream in the future, I think that this dock is going to be the spot to do it as well. But I really am so happy with how this entire park has come together. The spires really do seem to reach out to the heavens, and honestly, it's such a good feeling taking myself away from the grind about building houses and all the different things over in the main region of Audubon, and just focusing on something that makes me want to come back to this world. If you would like to add a little bit of story to this park, or give it a name, or kind of explain how it fits into the region and the story of everything that we have going on here, please do consider leaving a comment below. And if you're still here, I really appreciate you. Let me know what you think of this particular sort of video style, and I will hopefully see you in just about a week or so.